Great day, great day. Another day, another opportunity. Super excited. I hope everyone is doing well out there today. I want to welcome everyone to A Rich Education with Demi Sonia. And I'm not sure if in the past you may have missed some of my YouTube videos or any other my other social media content. I just wanted to briefly talk about what A Rich Education is about. And it's just all about understanding the importance for those who want to become wealthy. And it all begins first in the mind. So we want to know that we want to develop a rich mindset. And our health is important because, just imagine being sick and having all of this wealth, all of this money, or whatever we call money, but you can't enjoy it because your health isn't good. So we want to be rich in health, rich in spirit, okay, rich in attitude, rich in humility. So this is what Rich Education is all about, and the blueprint of how to become successful, how to become wealthy, how to become rich, even in the economic times that we're in today. And as you see in the background, great people, I just wanted to have a scene because there's so much going on today that I just wanted to have a scene to put us in that peace of mind, to never stop dreaming, never stop going for your dreams, never stop going for your plan. And look, those who fail to plan to fail. And great people, I just want us to put ourselves in that position mentally so that we can build wealth and build that legacy, that generational wealth, which is what? Is knowledge. Because you can have all of the assets, you can have all of the homes, you can have all of the gold, the silver, and all of the artwork, all of the oil. But if you don't have the knowledge to pass it on to the next person, you've lost it. So that's what generational wealth is all about. So let's dive into this information today. It's going to be just talking about today's episode is going to be based on wealth, okay? That's the subject we're going to talk about. And it's going to be, a subject that many people look at like a barbaric relic from the past, which is gold and silver, but it's actually one of the top assets that the wealthy and the rich do to keep, and not do, but use and actually put away to protect and preserve their wealth. And this is what we're going to dive into today, great people. We have with us today a gentleman, okay, that's going to really go into the markets and teach us, educate us on where we are today in this economy. And we know we're in a recession. But Gareth Soloway, who's the president and CFO of Chief Market Strategic at In the Money Stock. So we're going to dive into this information. I don't want to hold us up. There's going to be a lot of language that you may not know, but I want to talk about this at the end. But this is vital information for us to learn moving forward in the new economy.
This year, it's going to be gold again, but it's getting a little trickier because I do think Bitcoin bottoms this year and has a bounce. I just think that it won't have a significant enough bounce this year to overtake the gains in gold. And I still have it priced in like gold should blow through its 2020 and 2022 highs of around 2070s to 80 this year. So we're looking at some major upside. I think 2,300 is a pretty solid target price on gold for this year. My guess is that we haven't seen the recession yet hit, but it is going to come in a big wave, and it's going to be nasty. It's going to be one of the worst recessions that we've seen probably since 2008, 2009, and it's likely going to last a lot longer, mainly because the Fed won't be able to stimulate us out of it in the early portion. So, really, I've gone on record and said I don't think the S&P will make new highs for 10 to 15 years. I still think that's very logical. If you look back at the dot-com bubble, it took the NASDAQ 15 years to make new highs. And here we are seeing the amount of liquidity that was in the markets, the bubbles in crypto, in stocks like AMC and GameStop. It's very, very similar. And without the Fed stimulus, we could be looking at 10 to 15 years before new highs are hit. I do think we likely will see the markets, or at least the dollar, having topped out here. And that's going to be very good for metals like gold and silver. I think it'll be phenomenal, in fact, for gold and silver. Likely to see the dollar weaken continuing over the next 6 to 12 months. And so I think there's certain pockets where money will rotate out of the US. But I think the US is now on a downturn that will last a very long time. It will likely spread to the European Union, the UK, and maybe even Japan to some extent, although depending on their policies, maybe not. But ultimately, I do think that it's going to be something that is mostly global between the big powers. You also have other countries starting to look to take over that reserve currency as well. Mm-hmm. And if the reserve currency starts to be let's say in digital yuan or something else, there's a whole lot of dollars that countries around the globe hold, and we're talking trillions of dollars that they can then dump on the open market, which will also add to that negativity or downward move on the US dollar. So I do think that, again, the dollar eventually is dethroned. It's one of the reasons why eventually I do think crypto, or at least Bitcoin, becomes intriguing as a store of safety, at least a digital gold, to kind of offset the dollar decline. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be, the next 5 to 10 years is going to be unbelievably fascinating and kind of scary, frankly. And again, the beauty of it is history is a great telltale repeater. And if you go to that mid to late 70s period, the chart is almost identical to what we're seeing in gold right now. You had this kind of mid 70s sideways to down chop like we've seen for the last 2 years in gold. And then you had the big breakout. It actually came in kind of the late 70s, and gold 10x'd. So I don't think gold 10x's this time, because obviously Bitcoin will take some money away from that. But I do think it's going to be probably, in the next few years, you could be looking at a 3x on gold. The fact that the NASDAQ, the S&P stocks, the stock market in general, people aren't used to these long bear markets where earnings aren't going up. So there's going to be this real struggle to say, okay, well, how do we justify a rally or a long rally in the stock market when earnings growth is zero or negative for multiple years? And the answer is you can't really, right? It means generally prices have to go down aside from the occasional bounce. So then where does money go? And you say, okay, well, gold, maybe Bitcoin eventually, but gold is really going to be that safety hedge in a market where we're probably going to see elevated inflation. So 3-4% inflation, but the Fed won't be raising rates because we're going to be in a recession. And then at the same time, the Fed really tied and unable to get us out of that recession. And then lastly, I think one of the most underrated points about gold is that everyone has hated on it, right? So it's one of the most underinvested assets out there. So if you just get it to be brought back to where it was maybe 5-10 years ago in terms of investments, you're probably easily north of the all-time high on gold at this point. So I think all those things play into it. Now the it. Now the gold miners are in an unbelievably sweet spot, and they should actually outperform. So I think this is, the chart is kind of telling us that something like that is on the horizon. It still may be months away, but it certainly is interesting to kind of note how we're getting to that period. If you go back on monetary policy, whether it was the Federal Reserve or Bank of Japan or Bank of England, there was this kind of pressure cooker where they always wanted to keep asset markets up because they felt that wealth effect was working. And then what we saw is over the last 10 years, the rich got richer and the poor didn't really benefit as much. If you didn't have investments, you didn't make much money. Wages were stagnant, all that. Now, all of a sudden, what we've seen is this kind of rotation of thought process where they're saying, okay, we have to start paying attention to inflation because that's what the poor and middle income people are really being affected by. They're getting poorer because prices are going up. They can't afford that. So you have to kind of look at it like, okay, so forget about the people that have money already. How do we start dealing with the poor in the world? We've been under trend of inflation for many, many years, which then usually means to get back to the medium or the mean, we have to have a multiple period of years above that goal of 2%. And I think that's what we're going to see. But having said that, that would generally indicate the Fed would be unlikely to stimulate. I would argue that in the beginning, for the next few years, the Fed will be really hesitant to print any money or lower interest rates because inflation is going to be sticky north of 2%. Whether it's 3, whether it's 4, I'm not sure. But they're going to be not wanting to trigger the inflation bug again. However, let's say 5 years out, we find ourselves in this protracted, this long recession that's borderline depression. there will be a point where it gets so bad, they will have to go back to that, what they do best, which is printing money to stimulate growth. And again, I could easily see us, maybe not in 2023, but in the next 3 years, breaking out of this consolidation phase and then actually having one of those super spikes towards the $50 level per ounce on silver. Even though silver is somewhat of an industrial metal, which would suffer obviously in a recession period, I still think that the value of silver will increase in a elevated inflationary environment. What's really interesting about silver is you have this resistance level that you're kind of bubbling up into. But once you take that out, you really have full range to retest the recent highs here around $30. And what I love showing to people is that when you break key levels, if you go back on the chart, you have these huge mega spikes in silver where it's almost like a short squeeze in silver. And I do think that that's probably one of the things that we're coming up to in terms of that type of spike. So I think, again, what's amazing here is it's almost like a double top here on silver, right? So it's exciting to see these things because the metals have been kind of like, they like no one, if you talk to like any 20-year-old who's investing, it's either crypto or, GameStop or all these, and they're forgetting about this asset class. And in an environment where you have this elevated inflation, Fed not raising rates, a dollar that's probably declining, this is the perfect recipe for one of these super spikes. There's two sides to it, right? So I have my emergency stash, which is physical gold and silver. And again, it's not a lot. I don't hold a lot because, it's more meant if I wake up tomorrow and the internet's down and the banks are closed and like I have no cash on me and my credit cards don't work. Well, how do I, pay for things? How do I do what I have to do? And the answer is physical metals would then take that place, right? Either that or the barter system. So that's a small percentage. Aside from that, I mostly trade in and out of the GLD, GDX, the SLV. So I'm using the ETFs to really trade it. I don't do the futures quite as much. But again, those ETFs are really my main swing trading opportunity. A
ton of great information coming from Mr. Soloway, and I'm super excited about that knowledge because I tell you one thing, great people, you may not have understood all of it, but when you have an individual that's in the markets like that, and we want to hear from and connect with intelligent people. He's in the markets, maybe 7 days a week. I know he's taking breaks, enjoying life, enjoying his family, but with that kind of knowledge to be a trader, you're learning from individuals who are intelligent, and these are the type of people we need to listen to, not our what they call them stockbrokers or Robert Kiyosaki, I remember him saying, because they're broker than you. So great people, we want to get into the markets in a way where we're going to understand and not take people's advice, but take people's education. And he spoke on gold doing what? He spoke on gold 3Xing, and that's not good. Right now, gold is fluctuating between 18 and 1900. Okay, so let's just round it off and say 2000. But we're talking about an ounce, not small increments. So great people, 3Xing would mean gold pushing close to 10,000. And what does that mean? That means that the dollar, as they print more of it, it weakens it more, creates more inflation. As you already see and feel inflation in the stores, that means that the assets will go up, great people, based on and being predicated to the US dollar. So that's just a situation and a good example, not too far along. Venezuela. What happened in Venezuela? Google it when we get off this, you finish looking at this YouTube video. What happened in Venezuela? Well, great people, their currency completely failed, crashed, 1,500% inflation. Right now, where are we? And we're under 10%, okay? But that's going to get worse here. So what happened? They couldn't even afford gold in Venezuela. Their currency called the bolivar. I think it was like 1 billion bolivars to buy a chicken and 1 egg. So this isn't to scare you. This is just to give you the education and knowledge. And once again, this is no financial advice. This is only for educational and entertainment purposes only, great people. We have to make smart, intelligent decisions. And also, we must put ourselves in the midst, even if it's just on YouTube, around smart and intelligent people. That's if you want to survive and thrive also in these times. So I don't look or get excited of gold 3Xing because that means that the dollar's value, and this is where chaos and other things will be taking place. So you got to make a move and a decision right now to get this asset, as you saw in that amazing commercials, 7K Metals, where you can get gold and silver in smaller increments where you'll be able to afford it. We don't want gold no one's saying go drop. If you have it like that, then most definitely do so. Look into why it's important to do so, to have a well diversified portfolio. And you heard him mention these words. What's diversification? You don't have all your eggs in one basket. So I'm not here to go into all those things because I have all the knowledge. I got the free eBooks for you to start educating yourself. I got the links in the description below for you to start even connecting to opportunities like 7K Metals, where you can start having these precious metals and leveraging technology where you can send precious metals in a digital way to your people and also have it delivered to your doorstep, great people. So Bitcoin, another opportunity. I say if you don't know anything about it, look into learning. Feel free to connect with me on how to acquire Bitcoin as an asset, because she will go on a major bull run. She's breaking some certain resistance levels right now. I want to keep it simple because I know many people don't understand this language, but you can begin to understand the language with people. And to keep it simple, you got to do something different. You got to get hard assets that protect you, physical gold, physical silver in your possession. You must also understand people's money, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. There are other opportunities out there with this. That's if you care. We want money, but we don't want to take the time. And I understand, because what's happened to us mentally, we don't want to take the time out to learn on how to build wealth in this time, in this recession that he spoke of. And as he also mentioned, the rich are going to get richer and the poor middle class are going to get hurt, basically wiped out. This is what's going to happen. I don't want that to happen to you. That's why I make and bring content like this. I want you to be able to thrive, but you got to focus on doing something different, great people. Inflation is going to get worse. They're going to print more money right now. We had a debt ceiling here in America. We've never had this much debt from them printing more money. Okay? Quantitative easing, the big language for it, to keep us more not wanting to learn more about it. We're like, what's that word? But great people, we have to do these things. So there's opportunity in Forex trading. There's opportunity to become a swing trader like Mr. Soloway. There's opportunities in getting ounces of silver, small ounces right now. And as he spoke of, silver may be hitting $50, where right now it's not 30. This is opportunity for you and I, great people. Yeah, he mentioned silver being an industrial metal. There's 100 things around us that need silver. I've been taking silver in my body for health. And shout out to Dr. Linda for, and I know she's going to see this video, for the education and the mentoring she's given me to bring information to the people better. And I'm striving to get better as I fail forward. So great people, I just want to know, and I brought up Dr. Linda because she gave me, and I bought some of the silver liquid from her, and oh my gosh, so these things are important, great people. So with all that being said, I just want us to take that information super serious, make changes. Feel free. You'll get ways to connect with Mr. Soloway. I'll have his YouTube link where you can start learning and getting more information. He's on Kitco News at times. He's been on, I think, Strawberry's YouTube channel as well. So he's well vetted in the space of financial education, great people. So I want you to take care, take heed. Click the links below. You want more knowledge on 7K Metals, on how you can be part of that great opportunity, as well as cash still being somewhat relevant. There's so much more I can talk about. But great people, I want to do my best to keep this super short and super simple. Make a change, get education on why gold and silver is important. I think you heard enough of that right there. Feel free to connect with me. My phone number will be there. Send me a text. Call me if you have any questions. You want more knowledge on 7K Metals or any of my other platforms that create cash flow and allow you to get precious metals, allow you to also step into the cryptocurrency space. Text me. I'm here for you. I'm here to serve you. I want to thank you for your time. Take care. Take heed. And stay safe. Hit that like and subscribe button.